Ladies and gentlemen, Matt Reeves has spoken, and he has officially confirmed that the Batman is not a part of the DCU. And Batman fans and real film fans everywhere rejoiced. Let's discuss.
I watch so you don't have to.
All I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
As many of you know, DC Elseworlds projects is something that I've been advocating for some time. And I say once again, to me, this was the route that WB should have took with the DC brand before hiring James Gunn. Because to me, it should be about telling the best stories, and the only way to do that is to give real creatives complete creative freedom.
It's true.
Also, a lot has been said about the amount of time that Matt Reeves has taken to write his Batman Part 2 script. And whether or not you believe the rumors of studio meddling, or the fact that Matt Reeves might have had some personal issues that got in the way, at the end of the day, it appears that the Batman Part 2 is finally on the way, and as someone who values quality filmmaking, I wouldn't have it any other way. I don't know how many of you are aware of this, but there is a group of people online that some are calling the Merger Bros, who desperately wanted the Reevesverse to merge with James Gunn's DCU. And today these people have a very good reason to be crying into their soy lattes. Why in the would you ever want what Matt Reeves created to be tainted by being directly associated with another shared universe? Do these people not realize that the fact that this isn't connected to anything else is precisely the reason why it feels special? It's what sets it apart from everything else that has been coming out in the comic book movie genre as of late.
That makes sense.
There were actually people talking about today online how the Batman Part 2 now has no purpose to exist because it's not a part of the DCU. And I have to ask, have you ever heard a more ass-backwards and corporate apologist way of looking at filmmaking? This to me was definitive proof of something that I've been saying for a while now, that being that fanboys, at least some of them, do not care about quality filmmaking. Why would Matt Reeves having the freedom to make the movie he wants to make ever be considered a bad thing? So telling a good story, that is no longer important to these people. What's really important is how we can get Robert Pattinson's Batman and David Corenswet's Superman on screen together. What's important to them is how this new movie is going to connect to a larger convoluted picture. Even though there is absolutely almost no conceivable way tonally that it would ever work.
What the hell am I looking at? When does this happen in the movie?
It's like trying to mix The Godfather with a slapstick comedy. Do people have no sense of what works and what doesn't work cinematically? They get so wrapped up in their comic book obsessed minds that they forget sometimes that what we are actually talking about is movies. Now, I know some people, including myself, saw Superman 2025 and it came off like a 5-year-old playing with his action figures, as it completely lacked any sophistication in its storytelling whatsoever. So how, and more importantly why, would an actual artist like Matt Reeves ever want to collaborate with that? I assume that he values his artistic integrity, and if in fact he was approached about a merger, I'm glad that he stuck to his guns and stood up for what he believes in. Matt Reeves taking a few years to complete a script could never happen if this film was included in the DCU. Why? Because the release dates would then be set in stone, and he would be forced to turn in a script before it was ready. Colin Farrell spoke recently about Matt Reeves' creative process, saying, quote, "I love Matt Reeves. I think he's brilliant. Matt is so meticulous, and I think he feels the weight, the burden, and also the gift of responsibility that is bringing films into the world, of that world." You mean he takes the material seriously? You mean he takes the responsibility of bringing these characters to life seriously? Imagine that. Imagine for a second a filmmaker who doesn't write a sequel less than a year after the first film comes out.
I understood that reference.
He's meticulous, meaning he takes his time with the details and wants to get it right, which is exactly what you are supposed to do if you are a filmmaker with any level of credibility. Why would anyone want to interfere with that process? Unless, of course, you have no love for the art of cinema at all. Telling everyone that there's no point to a Batman Part 2 because it's not a part of the DCU is MCU brain rot turned up to 11. It has now infiltrated the DC fan base as well. Elseworlds is 100% the way to go, and I cannot stress this enough, but I'm going to, because some people just refuse to get it. Matt Reeves also said recently that he has no idea if he will get to make the Batman Part 3. And if I'm not mistaken, he said something similar once upon a time about the Batman Part 2. But if you really stop and think about it, this is going to depend on a couple of things. For one, how well will Part 2 be received and how well will it perform? Also, how well will future DCU projects perform? And the biggest deciding factor will be whether or not WB gets bought out, as some rumors suggest they might. To me, a Batman Part 2 smash hit situation will make a Part 3 almost undeniable. And if DCU projects continue to underperform and underimpress, then that could lead WB to start making some difficult decisions. And if the buyout happens, will the new owners want to pursue a Batman Part 3? Or will they have their own plans? Here's what we know about the Batman Part 2. So far, the villain, according to Matt Reeves, has never really been done in a movie before. And this character will also be connected to Bruce Wayne's history and life. Now, obviously, this screams Hush, and some people are even suggesting that it could also be the Court of Owls. Not the most flashy of picks for villains, but I really wouldn't expect anything less from Matt Reeves, who clearly wants to keep things as grounded as possible.
Take it down a notch.
He also recently stressed the importance of keeping Bruce Wayne the focal point of the story and not allowing the villains to overshadow him like has happened in the past. Sounds like a Nolan-esque philosophy when approaching this character, and I think that's a great strategy. He says that this movie has the potential to be even better than the first one, and coming from Matt Reeves, to me that means a little bit more. Have we forgotten what he did with the Planet of the Apes films when he eventually took those over? Remember that he didn't have to go through the burden of setting everything up in those movies because he came in on the second one and absolutely killed it. Imagine a Matt Reeves Batman sequel that is not burdened with setting a lot of things up.
Shut up and take my money.
There was a point where I was losing interest in this project just because of all the indecision around it. But after these announcements, after these details, I'm back in, and I'm very interested to see what Matt Reeves is cooking up this time around. The Batman Part 2 in a lot of ways could be the last gasp of the comic book movie genre, which is clearly fading. And if anyone can restore a little bit of credibility, a little bit of prestige to the genre once again, I think Matt Reeves is the right person for the job.
Y'all be cool. Right on.